Hey Tarot fans, welcome to another edition of Blue Sicx Tarot. I'm your fantastic host Blue Sicx. Thank you very much for watching. Now if you are new to this channel, please give me a subscription, thumbs up, you can even leave a comment, and you can also follow me on the social medias to check out some of the fun, funky stuff that I do. Now today's video, it's a hashtag that I came across from my friend Ikale Flowers, known as B. And it's a hashtag put together by a group of different TarotTubers. I've left a link in the description for all of their channels. It's basically just a good collection of questions, some of which I think I've answered in previous hashtags, but this is all good and fun, so let's begin. So the first question is, how did you get into tarot or oracle? Now, I first got into it when I was about 17. I used to be into crystals and star signs and all of that sundries. And I came across a Lenormand deck, the Titania fortune cards, picked up them. And then later on, I started getting into tarot cards, which is more classic to what I was aware of. So there was a few. It felt more like, hey, you picked up the side thing, but here's the main thing. So that's kind of how I got into that one. So second question, where are we? Are you drawn to tarot or oracle more, and why? As of recording, I have 133 decks of tarot and 32 decks of oracle, and called it 2 Lenormand. So I do prefer tarot, because there is a nice set little structure, and the variations I like in the concept, in the idea of you can have 8 different tarot decks. They all say the same thing but said in a different way, just by how their artwork and themes are done. Whilst with oracle, you can't really kind of go, oh, I don't know. I just prefer this. I just prefer the idea of structure and variation in structure, rather than just, hey, these are all different and varied anyway, so what difference does it make really? But yeah, I've always just preferred tarot in that regard. So I've also got some notes dotted all around the place. So if you could create your own tarot deck, what would it be? I know I've covered that one before. So I'd have like a circus deck, which I know already exists, but like a more modern circus deck really. Did I write that one down? No. Like a more modern circus. I'd probably have. I know I've seen Dungeons & Dragons themed deck. I really want to get hold of one of those, but probably a bit more. Ones involving werewolves would be pretty good, because there are loads of zombies, vampire, and general gothic stuff. I've yet to see any werewolf ones, so that'd be pretty cool. And outside of just having a werewolf for the moon card. Next it says, show us your first deck, whether it be oracle or tarot or whichever, and which did you learn first. So I said my first deck was Lenormand, and but my first tarot was the Mermaid tarot by Le Scarabeo, which I have here. So this is kind of, I've done a video of this before, I'll leave a link in the description, but essentially they are kind of Rider-Waite style but with a nice mermaid theme. So I was using them for quite a while. I really enjoyed them, and I kind of continued on from there. And I'll just grab my Lenormand and we'll take a look through those. Right, so with these, the Lenormand deck, they tend to have 36 cards, rather than the tarot of 78. So, but yeah, so these are what I started using when about 17. It did take me a while to learn how to use them, and I don't really use them much anymore. Although I am thinking about collecting and purchasing more Lenormand. But this is kind of what I started out with. Quite bold, but quite interesting as well, really. So that's them. I'm glad I managed to dig them out. Okay, so next question is, show us your most recent tarot or oracle deck, and why were they calling to you? Okay, so my most recent deck was actually a gift from my friend Jane, who is Jane Sloth London on Instagram. Check her out. She posts some quite funny stuff actually. So it's this deck's the most recent one. As unprofessional as this sounds, I'm not actually going to try and read this because this is Welsh. So I'm dyslexic and I struggle reading English, so I'm not going to try and attempt to even read Welsh. It's a nice little nice book. The tape measure's over there, but we'll save that for the review. But here's the actual spelling of that. So it's quite a thick book. Nice box. It comes with its own little pouch and separate box for the cards themselves. I've only had a small look through. I've not actually had a proper look, and I've not really had time to really get to know them really. But unfortunately I've just been quite busy with work, so I've not really had a chance to really appreciate these just yet. But first of all, thank you, Joan, for actually giving me these. And I'm glad you enjoyed that reading I gave at the time. But yeah, so these are the most recent ones I have purchased. I'm really dreading some of these later questions because I've already read through them, which is why I've got all this stuff handy. If you could share tips with someone learning tarot for the first time, what would they be? No, I didn't write that down either. Excuse me. What I'd always recommend someone to do is just kind of go with what feels right. So I've always heard that you never buy your own cards, you never buy them second hand, you must make sure you do this. And my thought on that is basically no, because I've bought cards second hand from charity shops or Goodwills, from the internet, eBay, brand new, and sometimes I've had cards that I've gotten on really well with that I've put God knows how many people have used them before I've received them, and some of my favourite cards that I work with tend to be a lot more, I seem to sync better with them than cards I've bought brand new or been bought for me. So I'd just say like learn how the cards work, and then kind of pick up the best way you feel that you can work with them. That's always kind of what I say. So this one is my first TarotTuber. I said I'm looking down here because I've got my notes down here. So the first TarotTuber is the I started watching was the Daily Tarotgirl, and I came across her because I was interested in. I always like talking about tarot, and which is kind of why I started this channel in the first place. But the thing is, I was kind of seeing what was around, and she was one of the ones that kind of caught my eye because she had various decks, and she'd do a weekly forecast, which is what I do now. And I don't really watch her as much now, but I don't tend to watch a lot of TarotTubers. But then I tend to follow more on Instagram. But anyway, she was quite. Her videos were quite nice. They were quite uplifting, and she always liked to talk about kind of like how the artwork looks and kind of how she felt about them, and also talking a lot about her cats. I'm a dog person myself, but I do like some cats. I do like cats. I've not seen the film or the musical, nor do I ever wish to, but I like the animals themselves. Right, so what was life like before tarot, or your holistic path for you? Where did you come from? I always find that a very weird question to be asked, where I'm from. Personally, it's, well, before that I was 16, so I think I've mentioned this before, my household are Christian, so a lot of this stuff is not their cup of tea, which is also ironic because they prefer coffee. But I guess I started getting into this when I was about 9 and 10. Kind of like the idea of zodiac signs. So basically before that I was just in school being a stupid kid. So I've been kind of into this for quite a while. So although I did have a break when I was about 21, I stopped doing tarot for a few years. But at that point I was just working. So I didn't really have any path in particular, just settled in my job doing what I did. So I didn't really have much else going on. But now I've gotten into this, and as I've said before, I do circus skills and all sorts of other bits and bobs. So I didn't really So it's not like there's been a path. It's rare that I didn't have a path before this, because I was just into this sort of thing for so long that there wasn't really much to say. So next up is your favourite go-to top 3 spreads. Not quite how that's written, but so my favourite 3 spreads. So my first one that I like to use is a 4-card spread. I don't think I actually have a particular name for it, but 3 cards at the bottom and 1 card above card number 2, which is basically, here is what's going on at the moment, and the top card is about the sort of lesson it's kind of like the outcome or the lesson to walk away from. My 2 other favourite spreads is what I use when I'm doing main readings outside of just something small. This spread I don't really have a name for either, but I will leave a link in the description. It's a I did a video covering how to use a tarot spread, how to use tarot and oracle in one spread, and this is basically how I do this, where I do 2 rows of 5 and then have an oracle card and then 3 oracle cards on top of those 5. Once again, link in the description, you can check out that more in a better, well, it's better to see it that way. But I like that one because it kind of covers what's going on, but it kind of covers a broader net. And with the oracle cards, it kind of adds like a way to kind of summarise certain groups of those cards as well. And my favourite spread to use is the Osiris spread, which I've also done a video for, and I've done a link in the description. Although I do apologise, it's a very old video, so the audio quality might not be great, but you know, if you like the video but it could be better, let me know and I'll see if I can do a redo. But anyway, I like the Osiris spread because it basically covers your general path, your family, your job and your relationships, and you can also add on a past and future if you want. I don't tend to. It's based off of the Osiris board, which one of my friends owns, which is basically a board with that kind of setup, and use particular cards that cover the board. Some of them have holes to cover certain aspects. It's been a while since I've looked at one. I don't have one myself, although that is one of my missions to obtain one. So next question. Most anticipated deck of 2020. Now, the Scarabeo did a Kickstarter for this particular tarot deck. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, so I'm just going to have it written here. I'm looking forward to it. It's basically a deck which is kind of covering the War in Heaven, and the artwork just looks amazing. Unfortunately, the Kickstarter has ended, and so hopefully, I believe they should be releasing them in the next few months. I'll have to double check on that, of course, but that is a deck I'm looking forward to, because also I get all the lovely little extras, posters and whatnot. I'm very much looking forward to that one. So what's on your wish list? A lot. So once again, I've only written down 2 of my favourites that I'm really wanting to get, which is the Space Tarot and the Crow Tarot. And the Crow Tarot is not connected with Brandon Lee whatsoever, although if someone's making a Brandon Lee Crow themed deck, please let me know, and I will happily financially donate towards that deck, because that would be amazing. Okay, so what were your impressions and fears about tarot? Now, once again, I grew up in a Christian household and still currently live in it, and so therefore anything like any form of divination of any sort is considered bad, evil, sin, etc. And so going in, it was one of those things of slight confusion, because growing up it was okay for me to have crystals, and it was okay for me to kind of believe in the zodiac, but at the same time certain aspects of like crystal balls and spirit boards and stuff like that I was kind of always discouraged and always told it was bad. So the fear was more of, for me the fear was more along the lines of, I'm comfortable with this, but is that a good thing that I'm comfortable with this? Because apparently this is really bad, but I'm really fine with using it. So that was really my fear. It's not about fear of using it, but the fear that I wanted to. But, you know, that's what happens when you grow up in a very kind of classic Christian household. Would you like to start reading tarot? Yes or no? And if no, explain. I do read tarot, hence the channel. But no, I've been professionally reading tarot probably for about 4 or 5 years. I think 26, 27 was when I had my first paid reading. And that was not the best day because there were so few people coming in. I think I did 4 readings that day, 2 of which were for other people who were there. So we wound up doing readings for each other. And I think it was £10. It was £10 a reading, and I did 4 readings. And I basically walked away with £10. So each reading was a tenner. It was £10 to cover the cost of the table. And I did 2 free readings because we were doing readings for each other because it was so slow. So I wound up walking away with £10, a £10 profit. So yeah, I've been doing readings for quite a few years now and really enjoy it. So I always like helping out people, and it feels like it helps people out. Now obviously the argument always comes up of, well, if you're happy to do it, why do you do it? Why don't you do it for free? And as Heath Ledger's Joker said, if you're good at something, you shouldn't do it for free. But then at the same time, we all need to eat, drink, and be merry. And also, decks aren't cheap. What kind of vibes would you like to get the feeling of? Oh, did I miss one? Oh, yes, I did miss one. Sorry. Have you ever gotten a reading from another reader, and what were your feelings towards it? Now, if I have a tarot, I've had readings done by friends, my friends and strangers. When my friends do readings, I'm kind of relaxed about it because I have confidence in them. I've had a reading done before by a gentleman I'd never met prior. I was just in London with one of my friends, and there was a table. So I had a reading done with him, and I'm always very skeptical when I'm having a reading done by someone I don't know, or when I go to a medium, or when I've seen mediums, or anything, or I've even like spiritual nights. When I go to those, I am surprisingly skeptical, because I'm aware that there are people who are genuine, or at least don't believe in what they're doing. And so when it's someone I don't know, I'm very skeptical, because in my head it's like, I know I can do it, I know other people can do it, but I don't know if you can do it. So yeah, I'm always very skeptical if it's people I don't know, but I don't know if we're all like that, to be honest. But what kind of vibes would you like to feel from getting a reading? I don't want to feel any vibes whatsoever. Now the reason is because if I feel any negative vibes, half of me will think that's just me putting that on myself, making me think that that's on them, when I'm just being distrusting. At the same time, I wouldn't really want any necessarily positive vibes either, because I just find that distracting. If someone's doing me a reading, I just kind of want to just relax and just take in what I'm being told. I don't want to have any positive vibes. I don't want any distractions. I just want to this is in front of me, you're telling me this, cool, let's go through this. So, and the last tag question is, tag the next TarotTuber via YouTube or Instagram. Now, I'm going to say it here, and I'm also going to call them out on Instagram. I would like to see Tarot Tidbits 78 to do one of these, because that would be quite interesting. And I'd also like to see Grail Seeker Tarot Shop do this as well. So I also recommend checking them both out as well on Instagram. They are really nice girls. I say girls, they're women. Sorry, I think my sexism showing. But yeah, they're really nice. They're really nice. And well, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm going to try and stop waffling now. Hope you enjoyed that video. Once again, you can follow me on the social medias, and I shall try and have some more videos up like this, and more reviews and stuff up, because I've not done a review for quite a while, at least not this side of this year. So, and hopefully I'll see you again soon, and you have a good one. Bye bye.